Hi everyone, it's Elizabeth here. So I formerly did a video about some of the worst things that you can do after a breakup, and so this video I'm going to do some of the best things that you can do during and after your breakup. I kind of took it down a level because little Snickers here, she's such a healing type of cat, so I just wanted her to be present in this video since she started to sit next to me for it. But anyways, kind of funny. So here's the thing. When you're going through a breakup, I explained in my other video, you start to kind of fly by the seat of your emotions. And so, everything is kind of jumbled between, wanting to get a rebound or to make yourself feel better, to want to like completely escape life and just pack your shit and move to the other side of the world. Like sometimes that happens. I don't think for the most logical, rational person here on planet Earth that that's really an option, especially when you have bills to pay or especially if there's children involved and stuff like that. So here are just some tidbits that I have for you. So depending on the extent of the relationship, obviously the longer that you've been together, the harder it is to kind of cope with the process. Obviously somebody who's been together for 8 years, that's going to be a really hard breakup to get over as compared to a relationship that's only been involved in 3 months, because the emotions and such aren't as deep in a 12-week relationship. So the first thing that you should do is that you really should analyze what went wrong in the relationship from both perspectives. It's really hard for people to do. I can, completely exit and detach myself from my own perspective and look from the other person's point of view to really understand where they're coming from with their feelings. Not everybody has that capability, but you need to analyze what went wrong, and you need to also analyze if this is a behavior pattern that you or that other person has had in their past or in previous and former relationships. A lot of relationships break and crumble because of a lack of communication. People aren't happy and they're afraid to voice that. But a lot of times people also have their own personal egoic issues that they have to overcome, but they're too stubborn and they don't want to do that. So this gets to a point where you have to use a little bit of self realization or self examination to really kind of help understand what went wrong. The second thing I think is to seek counseling. A lot of people in the spiritual communities are against counseling. Western psychological counseling, but the very logical and rational human being probably needs counseling. I believe that at every single point in our life we need some form of counseling, whether it's one-on-one or it's in a support group. I mean, Alcoholics Anonymous is so popular and has changed a ton of lives because it is a group support system that also tells them to connect to a higher power, and it connects them to God. I do believe that during this time, getting counseling is a very good coping mechanism for you, and it allows you to process and grieve the emotions and grieve the various stages. You will bounce into stages of being angry, of being sad. You might be happy for a little bit, and then you might revert back to being angry. Counseling can help you cope with these things and also help you overcome childhood trauma, which a lot of people in today's society have not come to face. They have not come to face the healing, the wounds that have happened during their youth. And counseling can help this. And not all counselors are going to be the best for you. It's going to take a little bit of an experimentation. Some people find a counselor right away that works for them, and other people, they kind of have to, work. They have to move counselors to see which one works for them. There's nothing wrong with that. The third thing I suggest is to seek spirituality and to develop yourself spiritually, but also your relationship with God. Since the cat moved, I'm going to move as well. This is, if you're a logical person and you don't believe in God, obviously this little segment's not going to be for you. But I believe there's nothing wrong with believing in God. You can't lose anything from believing in Him. A lot of people told me I bounced and kind of snapped out of my divorce, or I was pretty grounded, especially within the first 6 months of the separation happening. And the only conclusion I could come to why that was because I had a spiritual backbone. I was back on my path of coming home to Christianity. I am kind of like a mystical person, so I do believe in some other stuff. And I think that having that spiritual backbone and that belief in God really saved me from doing some stupid stuff. Like, I don't know, maybe I would have gone on a rebound or something like that. You know what I mean? It's like when you are spiritually grounded and when you ground yourself, you can tend to use your logic and your rational thinking in a better state rather than just being driven through your emotions, which being driven through your emotions can really land people in some really unhealthy and negative places. I do believe that during times of breakup, especially a divorce, this is a great opportunity to start to fill the holes in your life through a relationship with God. Some people need to start out by doing yoga. If I was talking to a Christian person, obviously they need to develop their relationship with Jesus and God. But, some people, they just have to start off with yoga and meditation. And, the Christian community will maybe denounce that. But I think to some degree, if that's the path that you're being led to at that point in time, then it's okay. I think when you're going through a breakup, this is a great time to introduce new and old hobbies into your life. I think when you want to seek things that support you and that benefit you and that uplift you. And that is a lot of becoming healthy, or maybe you're finding, you want to channel this energy through artistic pursuits like writing or painting. If you've always wanted to paint, this might be a great time now that you have time on your hands to take a painting class. For me, I started doing something called acro yoga, which I did it for a little bit. It got me back into my body. It helped heal some issues in my spine. But the reality is a lot of my analytics on that culture just weren't for me. It was very much almost like kind of hedonistic. And so I did it for a temporary short period of time until I, got back in my body. But I also did that alongside with rock climbing. Rock climbing for me was almost as great, if not better, than a counselor, because you're solving a problem on the wall. And when you are able to solve problems on the wall, that helps translate to solving problems in your life. And you can, if you can climb to the top of the wall, you can definitely believe that you're going to overcome this breakup. So for me, that was a really healthy thing that helped me in my life. It also, whenever you're doing some form of physical exercise, you are releasing certain types of hormones which are helping you feel better. And when you feel better about yourself, you generally want to eat better, and your self-efficacy and self-esteem and your belief systems start to change and grow and evolve. So the next point I want to talk about is to get grounded and or self-actualized. It kind of goes along with the first topic that I mentioned. Getting grounded is very, very necessary. Some people, I remember in the first 4 weeks of the separation, I just wanted to pack my stuff, leave Seattle, and move to Chicago or Philadelphia. And I sat with that, and I was like, you know what? Because at the time I was really just sick of Seattle. I was sick of the flakiness of this West Coast bullshit that happens out here. And I was like, I need to go back to some of the East Coast, Midwest roots. And I sat with it, and it was like, no. It told me, no, you're not ready to leave this city yet. It takes a while to grieve your emotions. And I just think really uprooting your life, that might actually be the best change. I do believe in things like astrology, and Sagittarians are the type of people that will just pick their shit up and move and go and completely not even look backwards. And there are some people who, you have water signs, and especially Cancers, they're a little bit more emotionally attached, and they're not really ones to pick up and move to the other side of the country. So that's why, it's a lot of earth and water signs tend to move a little slower than air and fire. But anyways, especially if you are air and fire, you need to ground yourself and get out of your head and get into your body and start to kind of rediscover who you are. Discovering your strengths and your weaknesses. That's not a bad thing. Kind of, I guess the next step is to get healthy and to get back in your body. I kind of explained that. I think walking is a form of meditation, which is the easiest thing that anybody can do. Walking out in nature, there's so much research that talks about how walking is so much beneficial. It even boosts creativity and artistic pursuits. So, however you want to get healthy and get back in your body, when you self-actualize yourself, like, I don't like weightlifting, I'm a trainer, I don't like it. I am at best when I'm moving my whole body, and I am happiest when I do things like rock climbing, swimming, and yoga, and walking. And so those four things are the things that I generally gravitate to the most. Why put yourself through torture and pain if that's not something you enjoy doing? It's like, yeah, weightlifting might, boost the vanity part of the soul, but that's not what you're looking for. You want to do something to where you can feel good about yourself. Heal. Holy crap. Like, that's the whole point of going. That's the whole point of, like, everything after a breakup that can be remotely healthy is to help you heal. It is not wise to rush into partying. Yeah, everybody to some degree is going to want to party or go to a bar and, have some form of escapism. But, like, you can have healthy escapism and artistic pursuits, or, meditation is a healthy form of escapism. But healing, let yourself heal and grieve your emotions. One of the wisest things you can do during a breakup is to not rush into any new relationship. The older you get, especially once you're in your 30s, the sexual attraction with people, I'm talking heterosexual relationships with the opposite gender, can run really high. It can be very difficult for men and women to be friends just because there is some form of attraction. And especially once you're a little blinded by your emotions during a divorce, it's really easy to start being attracted to other people. Now, the thing is, you just want to maintain and connect with friends, or maintain and establish a friendship in a relationship. And it is the most wise decision is to not run into the next relationship, or to start hanging out with somebody all the time to where all of a sudden you are in a relationship and you're only 8 weeks into a breakup. Most people tend to repeat their same mistakes and to repeat their history, and a lot of this has to do with rushing into relationships. And this is how we are in modern society, because everything is at the click of a button, or all you have to do is, click the little Internet Explorer button, and then you're, all of a sudden every endless opportunity in life is at the seat of, like, the World Wide Web. So you can book a ticket to Europe or Africa. You can look up stuff on spirituality or, politics. So the thing is, we're rushing things so quickly today, and humans and relationships are not computers. We are organic beings that grow and evolve organically, just like nature does. A flower just, you don't plant a seed and then you get a flower in 48 hours. It takes a season for these things to kind of develop. I already explained this one, but the next one, one of the wise things to do is to have healthy fun. For God's sakes, like, if you're falling into a pit where you are drinking, a bottle of vodka, or you're all of a sudden drinking 4 to 5 days a week, and then you're noticing you're gaining weight, you feel like shit, you're tired, you're developing diabetes, and, it's like, if all these things are starting to happen that are negative in your life, you have to, like, cut some of this out, and you have to start to steer your life back on the healthy road and path in life. And, a lot of people think, like, having healthy fun is super boring. And if that's your belief system, I think it's very immature. But the reality is, having healthy fun will fulfill you long term, rather than going out and seeking the instant gratification or the instant high that you get from alcohol and drugs and, promiscuous sex and dating apps. So it's like, what? If you just want to be a nerd and have a board game night with your friends, there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to go hiking or rock climbing with friends, that's a great outlet to channel your energy. You want to take an art class, great. You want to go back to school? Awesome. Go to a church, do that. There are so many things that are considered quote unquote healthy that I don't necessarily think are boring, but you have to be at a certain stage of your life where you don't listen to your friends. Like, so many people told me just to go out and get laid and to download a dating app and whatever, in terms of like great life advice post divorce. And I was like, this is the worst advice you can give anybody, because it's just going to make them feel like shit even more. All right. So the thing is, when you've gone through all of this stuff and you're looking back at your relationship and you're thinking about it, you need to switch your lens. You need to look at what you've gained from your relationship and not what you've lost. If you've been in a very bad and toxic relationship, you have learned a lot of lessons on what type of life you do not want to have or live anymore. If you've come from a very healthy relationship, it is very sad when healthy relationships end, but you can look at all of the great benefits and the things that you've gained from each other. Maybe, I had a very healthy relationship with my ex, and we traveled the world together. And so we traveled the world together, but, we're going to be putting our roots down with other people. And, that's just how it is. But what we've gained was we gained a life of supporting each other, of pushing each other to more in, I guess, like the career and personal growth world, but also with just exploring and seeing the world with each other. And that is a great blessing and a gift that not many couples have. So you have to cherish those great moments, and those are memories that will be with you forever. But don't forget that there's like the other side of the spectrum with that person too. There are also some probably negative things or some more complicated things. And so you just want to look at what you've gained and don't look at what you've lost. Because one thing it's really easy, I can say as a female, it's hard to be like, oh my God, there's no nice guys out there. Yes, there is a sea of nice men out there. It's just finding the ones that are, on your similar wavelength and stuff like that. Because there could be nice guys out there who can also be superficial and not great partners and stuff like that. So anyways, these are some thoughts that I have on some of the things that you should do during and after a breakup. It is really, really important, I believe, to kind of rediscover yourself. If you believe in God, start to connect with God, heal your wounds, get counseling or some support group. It could, maybe even if your form of healing is just reading blogs about, childhood trauma or this, that, and the other. Somehow we need to start to overcome these obstacles in our life, and you're not going to find any sort of resolution or outlet through, a glass of vodka or at a nightclub and things like that. So hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you for listening, liking, sharing, and subscribing, and speak with you guys soon. Bye.